My name is Debra Martin Chase. I am a film and television producer. I am a global citizen. I think of myself as an adventurous. One thing about me is I am very loyal. I am very loyal to my friends. To my friends, I am very loyal.
So where did you learn how to be a loyal friend, a loyal person?
But my family, I have a wonderful dad. I have a wonderful mom. My grandmother who was with us until 26 days before
Oh,
her 100th birthday.
oh
An
wow.
amazing woman that I was extremely close to, and she taught me a lot about life in the world. And yeah, it's a good family.
Oh, I love that. I love that. Well, I'm curious about your upbringing because, you've amassed such a beautiful, long, luxurious career. And I'm curious about a time when you were a young girl, being a young Black girl and being able to dream, maybe not even dream up what you have, but just to be able to dream of doing something like this, like television. Um, how did that start for you? Like, when did you first start dreaming of being here?
My dad, my dad was the biggest film and television buff that I knew. And so I grew up in a household where we watched a lot of TV. I mean, as a kid, I could tell you what the nighttime TV schedule was. I had
Right.
it memorized. And I was that kid that went to the movies every Saturday, and my mom had to come drag me out of the movie theater. And so it really was a dream, but it seemed like an unattainable dream because we didn't know anybody who came anywhere close to doing anything in film or television. And so I went to law school, and because you got to be prepared to take care of yourself in the world as a woman and as a Black woman. And I started practicing law. I went to Harvard. I practiced at big firms and big corporations, and I just hated it. Like I was a really good lawyer, but I was not happy.
Wow.
And I finally, got to that point in my life where I was like, I need to do. I feel like I have a contribution to make in the world, and this ain't it. And I need to figure out, what it is and go for it. And so I got really involved in the Michael Dukakis presidential campaign, and because I was a poli sci major, and I
Right.
always thought about maybe politics. And when that didn't happen, I got offered a job in the Dinkins administration, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go for the dream. And so that's when I really made up my mind. I was gonna try and see if I could make it work.
It's a lot because, like, people say, oh, I'm gonna just go for it. And I've done that even in my own life, in my own career. And I can't even pinpoint the thing that made me say, I'm just gonna take the leap. I'm just gonna bet on myself. And people, when they ask me that, I'm just like,
But what you said is key, and I say this a lot: bet on yourself, right? So I'm sure when you started this show, you were betting on yourself, right? And because I speak a lot at colleges and universities, and I speak a lot to women, and I think that's so important because at some point you have to take a calculated risk and bet on yourself.
yeah, you do. And I think that it's tough for people to do it, but I think the timing is always obvious.
Mm.
Like, you always know, either, there's a breaking point, whatever career path you're on, or you get fired. That's happened to me twice. And it's just like you start realizing that you still have the passion to do the thing, but maybe it's just going to look different
Yes.
than you
Yes.
thought,
Yeah.
essentially.
I mean,
um
when I started my own my own production company, I had been, I ran Denzel Washington's production company. I had been Whitney Houston's producing partner. We had a company at Disney for 5 years. And when that was up, we shot the first Princess Diaries movie. It was in the can, but it hadn't come out yet.
Right.
And I was looking for a job. And I was going to all of these, white guy companies. I wanted to be at a production company. And they were, had great career, but I was like, I don't want to make these movies. Like these movies mean nothing to me. And I think I'd worked long enough to understand that I had a voice and that I wanted to use. And also one of the reasons I got into the entertainment business was because growing up as the TV film junkie that I was, I very rarely saw myself or people who looked like us on screen. And I wanted to change that. And I knew that wasn't going to happen working for the white guy. So that's really how I decided, well, I guess, I got to go out on my own and figured out what that meant and how I could make that work. So yes, it's about, I believe that you get to that point where
where it's time for a shift. Well, being a Black woman in these spaces, infiltrating these spaces, shifting these spaces, making history in these spaces. I'm curious about how you handle, because everybody attaches aggression to us when we're passionate, especially when we're powerful. So being that you have that position and have had that position, how do you deal with asserting yourself and making sure that that's not misinterpreted?
That's an interesting question. I honestly, and you know what, I was gonna say, I honestly, that has not been a problem for me in terms of my passion and determination being misinterpreted. But honestly, it's probably part of my legal training because, I always say I learned, more, as much as you learn the substance of the law, you learn how to negotiate, you learn how to navigate, you learn how to, position things in a certain way to try and get the result that you want.
Right.
So I'm sure that my legal training helped me in that regard, because I'm able, with the very rare exception, to, maintain a cool and get my message across.
Yeah, that's it. That's a gift. That's definitely a gift. Well, I'm obviously Cinderella, Rogers and Hammerstein. Like, honey, to talk about the representation, you have been able to really give us something we can hold on to literally forever with your version of our classic Cinderella. I have so many questions about that.
Well, first of all, I have to tell you now, so it's been so amazing and rewarding, excuse me, that 25 years plus later, with the not the re-release on Disney Plus, who knew? It was like a whole big thing. I was doing interviews. It was so exciting that the movie was so beloved and treasured, and that, so much later it was a big to do. But I tell you what happened was, I had, people had been coming on my social media and saying, where's Cinderella? Like, why isn't Cinderella on Disney Plus? All the other classics are there. And so I would answer people, and so honestly, my assistant kept saying, Debra, you don't realize this is a big deal on social media. Like, where's Cinderella? So finally, Brandy and her mother called me, and they're like, Brandy had some new music coming out, and doing the interviews, she kept getting asked a question. So it just so happened by that time, a longtime friend of mine, Vanessa Morrison, a Black woman, had become the head of Disney Plus.
Right.
So I called Vanessa and I was like, what's the deal? And she was like, oh, let me look into it.
Black women.
Right. And so she came back and said, there are some rights issues, but we're going to start looking into them and clear them up. And so, I don't know, 6 months, 9 months later, it happened.
Oh, we deserve, it's been a hard road over the last year and plus. And even before that, obviously, but just it breathed so much life into us at this time. And even back then when it came out, I just remember feeling, I just love Brandy. And obviously Whitney Houston is our godmother. And it did so much. It did so much for us.
Why, we did it, because I grew up, like I said, TV child that I was, watching the Leslie Ann Warren version.
Mm-hmm.
Came on once a year, and you had to,
Right.
like appointment TV and all that.
Mm-hmm.
And I knew what it would have meant to me to have had a Black Cinderella growing up. It would have been everything. So it was a really hard movie to put together, but enormously rewarding. And like I said, the fact that we're still talking about it today says everything.
Yeah, there's a lot of really big legacy moments that you've been able to create. And I could only imagine what it feels like to be like, yeah, I was able to give the world this Black Cinderella and Black fairy godmother in one, Black Queen as well with Whoopi. It just cracks open the possibilities, right? And what Whitney sings about, impossible.
Impossible, exactly.
It's impossible. Things are happening every day.
Nothing is impossible, right?
Yeah, and to that point, Miss Debra Martin Chase, the impossibilities that you have created in your career, what are the ones that stick to you the most, that like stand out to you the most?
Cinderella. Princess Diaries. Princess Diaries was a big deal because basically it was pretty much, one of the first times a Black woman had produced a mainstream Hollywood movie.
Right.
The fact that it, and it made me the first, woman to produce a movie that made over $100 million, Black woman. And also just, it came from a place where I looked around and I was like, well, everybody and their mama are producing Black movies, but we are supposed to only produce Black product. And obviously, very important to me. But I'm like, from a business standpoint, we should be able to do what everybody else does, right?
Yeah.
Because otherwise, and the studios were only producing 3-4 Black movies a year, and everybody, trying to get their hands on. So it was also symbolic for me as a producer to the industry that I had come to play, that I was like, not going to be put in a box,
right?
I was going to play on the big stage.
I love it. And it just set the tone for you to be able to just move without limitations.
Move without limitations. Exactly.
I love it. I love it.
Make my choices, but move without limitations.
Exactly. I love that. I feel like, because I remember when they honored you for Black Girls Rock, and I was like, let me find out more about this woman. And I'm just so floored to be able to celebrate you, to be able to give you your flowers, because oftentimes, a lot of these jobs like yours, they may go unnoticed until, something blows up about a Cinderella or, and so I'm just excited to be able to share like the space with you, to see you have been able to create so many amazing things. And now here you are sitting on the set of Equalizer. I'm just,
thank you very much. I appreciate that. That means a lot.
Yeah, because it's amazing. I know, because you're a worker, right? Like I know that you work, and then you're like, oh yeah, kind of awesome what I've done. Because no
But
one just
that's how we
Googles
do.
over here.
But listen, that's how we do. We have to work harder, be better, keep pushing. I mean, that's the reality. Um,
Right.
that's the reality. So yeah, so we, and all of a sudden you look up and you're like, oh, okay.
I have done a thing. I have really done a thing. So now here we are, like, look at you on set. What does this feel like to you at this moment to know that, like, there's just so much more?
Well, this is particularly rewarding. I mean, I'm fortunate in that I have a number of things that I've created or helped to create in my career that I'm super, super proud of. But this really represents a milestone for me in terms of this is a network television show. Network television has been a closed club for, non-writing Black female producers. And
Right.
not the first one, I'm the second one. And, again, non-writing, to produce a network, executive produce a network television show. And that is this show. Queen Latifah and I go way back. We were just saying, it's so funny, a couple of nights ago or last week, Set It Off was on TV late at night. And I was watching Set It Off, which, is like awesome. And I realized the first time that we had dinner together was the week before Set It Off came out.
Oh, wow.
We were both at the William Morris Agency at the time, and they set us up to have dinner. So here we are, many, many years later, on the set of our, television show, network TV show that we are producing together. She's starring it, and we also shot part of Just Right here. This is the Izod Center, at
Yeah.
New Jersey. And so a decade ago, we shot all the basketball scenes from Just Right here below us. So the fact that then we came back here to do our TV show together, it's like good synergy, good people,
Mhm.
exciting.
Yeah, but that's also just a testimony of how the business is as well. You just never know where
Right.
you'll come around and see people again. That PA could be now the EP. And
My intern, when I was running Denzel's company, one of my interns was Shonda Rhimes. So yes, they come around. Yeah.
it's crazy. You just never know who's gonna be what and what's gonna be what.
Right.
That's amazing to be able to just create around and with all those amazing people. What is it that you most get inspired by when it comes time to create, or to put your vision out there to make it real?
I say I look for a couple things. One is the universal in the specific. So that is, specific stories that have themes that apply kind of to all people. So, for instance, even though, like, Sisterhood of Traveling Pants was a
Yeah.
story about 4 young women, the themes in the movie were pretty universal.
Right.
It cut across, race and gender and age, and so that, because my movies have to be about something. First and foremost, you have to entertain people. You have to, particularly nowadays when there's so much to choose from. But once you grab someone's attention and they turn your show on or they buy the ticket, you have to entertain them. But within that entertainment, to me, the real home run is when you can also reinforce a theme that has significance.
Right.
And one of the themes that runs through a lot of my work is that we each can be whatever we want to be. I mean, whether it's Cinderella or Harriet, or in this case, even with the Equalizer. I mean, she's decided that she wants to help people that, that the system has let down, and she can do that. And because I think it's important, in today's world, that idea be reinforced. It's so tough. Things are so complicated. And we all need to be reminded that at the end of the day, we are the captains of our own ship.
Yeah, that's real. I would love to know, with the length of your career, if you think back to one of the very first times where you felt like I'm now getting into having a career, and then to now, what do you think you would be able to tell that girl that just felt like I just put my toe in the door?
You know, which, hang in there. I mean, that is, I made it, and I made a decision early on, and I think again it was helpful having come from practicing law, that I wasn't going to let others misperceptions about me get in the way. So when I started, it was, I mean, I can remember being in the room and just with a bunch of white guys who just could not, which is inconceivable to them that I would be there for any reason other than to be the secretary. And somebody asked me to go get coffee, and I'm like, no, and you just have to, it was like I made the decision that I was not going to waste my energy on negativity, that I was going to, let that stuff, let it over me and keep focusing on the prize, because I saw people along the way get caught up in anger or, just trying to do stuff just to prove to people. I mean, I had a genuine love of what I did, and I saw the opportunity to make change through my work. And so that became my focus and my priority.
Yeah. Well, I love that because you feel so grounded. And when you talk about, people letting those emotions and those things get caught up, I've had my own experiences throughout this career now it's been 15 years, which I still feel like is a baby career. But, in media and dealing with all the things coming at you, but still keeping your feet on the ground. So I'm curious what keeps your feet solid on the ground.
I have a whole life outside of Hollywood.
Oh, we'll say it one more time for the people in the back.
Yeah, I have friends that have been my friend. I have a lot of friends that have been my friends since college, law school. We've grown up together. They're not in the business. I live in New York and Los Angeles because LA is an industry town, and I just got tired of every conversation being about what are you watching, or like, what are you working on? And so I have a life that is full of art and politics, and I'm a big traveler when you can travel. So that has helped me keep not only helped me keep what I do in perspective, but I think it's made me a lot more effective as a creator, because I'm seeing what other people are thinking about and talking about, and you being able to use those other experiences in my work.
How much of this do-it-yourself culture, especially when it comes to creating on YouTube and production on iPhones and such, how much do you think that's changing the landscape for television?
Oh, significantly, because Hollywood doesn't control the gate to the same extent that it used to. I mean, you can, with your iPhone, you can create a film, that then you can, it may not be broadcast on Netflix, but you can use that to get yourself in the door and be noticed. Whereas before, it was, you had to get the equipment and, make the movie and try and get somebody to see it. You can post it on YouTube, right? And build your own audience, and then get it to, so you just, it is, it has opened up access. And obviously in the music business, same thing. You record your stuff, you load it, and you can build your own fan base, and then some either bring it to people's attention, or they'll find in you. I mean, it's very different in that sense.
Mm-hmm. It's a lot more that people are able to do before they're even asking for a
Right.
deal, like with a major network and things like that.
Right.
Well, on your way out of here, I would love for you to share with us what you hope your work says about you.
My work reinforces that one person can make a difference, and that we each have the power to craft our own lives, no matter I mean, life, nobody's life is perfect, and that's a fallacy. So that whatever our circumstances are, we can create a life that can make us happy, and that happiness is really important. Helping people is really important.
Mm-hmm.
And that also, just as Black women, we are awesome. We need to support each other. We need to, believe in our potential and in our collective power. And look at what we've done in the last couple of years. Kamala, I mean, I was a big supporter of Kamala's early on, hoping that this is where, to put her in position for something like the vice presidency. Stacey Abrams, who's like unbelievable, helped win the election, turn Georgia, just masterful.
Right.
So many examples of us coming into our own, and us supporting each other and making real systemic change happen. So hopefully I'm a part of that.
You are. You are. I'm excited to continue to support what you do, what you create. Looking forward to seeing what you continue to do. And thank you so much. I am so honored to be here with you today. Thank you.
Thank you. This was lovely. Lovely to meet you. It was a great interview. Thank you.
Real quick with that real with that, yeah. Oh.